Hey, good morning. I am so glad you're here on this beautiful spring day. We've got the sunshine coming out. It was 70 degrees yesterday. It was so wonderful, and it's a much needed break for all of us who deal with, being sensitive to our environment and nature and what's going on around us. So I'm really, really glad you're here today. Um, so today's topic is about the lotus flower healing technique. Now, if you haven't been watching these live streams, or if you have, you know that my focus and my specialty are body, mind, tools, and techniques and points of view, hey Lisa, and perspectives that keep us all on a really good track and a really good path. And so I'm going to start with where this technique originally came from. So I used to study Native American spirituality and Native American tools. And I did that for about 10 years, and I really dove deep into it. And as I studied it and I mentored and I spent time really in the deep end of the pool of Native American traditions, one of the things that I realized was when you went to different tribes or you went to different cultures, hey, Jamie, they would have the same metaphor or the same symbol would mean something different. You know, in one culture, you were supposed to walk clockwise around the fire. In another culture, you were supposed to walk counterclockwise. If in one culture, if there was an owl, it meant, death is coming. In another culture, if, there was an owl, it meant new life. It was really, really confusing for me to understand how all of these sacred native traditions that were very revered and held in the highest esteem as rules of what needed to be done and had to be done, so set in stone, could be so contradictory. And that started me on a path of understanding that it wasn't about the symbol itself, it was about what the symbol meant to somebody. Now, this went even deeper when I studied, hey Sherry, when I studied smudging. Now, smudging is when you take a sacred herb and you light it. Hey, Linda, and you use it to create an energy in a space. So people would use sage because sage would make you feel present. It would clear out bad energy. And people would use sweetgrass because sweetgrass would bring in positive energy. So I listened to this wonderful speaker, this native speaker on smudging. And what she said was, it was the smell and the metaphor and the symbol of what was happening, of this smudge, that caused the energy of a space to change. So because sage was so pungent, it would bring you to your senses, it would get rid of negative energy. And because sweetgrass was sweet, it would bring in positive energy. It would remind you of the sweetness of life. And that really made me think about the importance of what things mean to us, about what symbols and metaphors really, really mean to us. And when we walk into certain spaces, sacred spaces, they've got all of these symbols and metaphors that will talk to us in different ways. And they'll talk to our subconscious and our body mind. Hey, Deb. And they will tell us or remind us of different thoughts or different approaches to have. So metaphors and symbols are one of the most powerful ways to encourage healing, to encourage happiness and joy. And you don't have to get attached to somebody else's symbol. What you have to do is find a symbol or a metaphor that works for you. So this is how the lotus flower healing, tool kind of came about. Because lotus flowers in Asian medicine are considered extremely sacred and powerful and rich and balanced. You think of this lotus flower and you think of this lily pad and, and this root going down into the mud and the muck and the dirt and that richness, that pain or hurt or suffering or whatever it may be. And so lotus flowers have a very powerful symbology in Asian culture. It's one of their most revered flowers and one of their most symbolic. And when you talk about chakras, when you talk about the different energy centers of the body, many times they'll be represented as lotus flowers as well. So, the lotus flower has this whole balance of this beauty that comes out of this rich, dark dirt sort of a place. So this morning, I had a little bit of heartburn. Hey, Margaret, good to see you. I had a little bit of heartburn because I ate dinner way too late last night. And I took my Tums and I drank my water, and I was just hanging out this morning. And I remembered my lotus flower tool. So because the lotus flower, when you think of it, you think of beauty, you think of richness, you think of sacredness, you think of power. This is what I think of when I think of lotus flowers. You may have a different symbol which represents that to you. And it's important to find the metaphor, the thing that puts you in that sacred space. It may come from the religion that you grew up in, or the spirituality, or a specific memory in your life, or just something that you learned, and it means something to you. For me, the lotus flower means something. So with my little heartburn, we know that when you focus on something, that the body heals it. But sometimes things are too uncomfortable, like heartburn, or a heartbreak, or your throat hurting, or a headache, or something like that. And you should know by now from all these live streams that sometimes you can't work on something directly. Sometimes you need just a little bit of distance because it's too uncomfortable or too painful to go right to the problem. And that's what it was like for my heartburn this morning. It was too painful and too uncomfortable to think about that part of my body. But if I thought about this lotus flower floating above the pain, and it put me in this sacred, beautiful space, and the root going down into my abdomen, and it allowed me to be connected and send healing energy there, and love and light, because that's what the lotus flower makes me think of. That's the metaphor for me. Without having to go into it and fight my way out of it. Hey, Christine, it allowed me to have a little bit of detachment with that love and that care and that kindness. Hey, Lillian. So when you're looking for something to help yourself heal or help somebody else heal, one of the first things you need to do is find the metaphor that works for you. And it can change day to day. If you look at all these cultures, metaphors change all the time, depending upon what they need to be used for. So for me, it's the lotus flower. So something beautiful, something that is sacred, something that has lots of different facets to it, and it means something to you. It has an emotional component. It taps something into you. And then the root, so you're attached to the pain, you're attached to the problem, but you're not directly in it. You're like walking next to the fire, you're not in the fire. And you're praying or sending loving energy from outside of the fire, not from in the fire, because it would be way too hot and way too painful to be in the fire. So sometimes when you've got a problem going on that's uncomfortable, that's causing you a lot of tension and a lot of distraction, and you need it to feel better, use this technique. For me, the lotus flower, where it's this beautiful sacred flower with wisdom and love and richness and power, with this root that goes down into the pain so that I can stay outside of it while still sending love and kindness and energy so that my body heals it. Okay? So that's your tool for today. Your homework for today is to find a situation where you're uncomfortable and look for a metaphor that you can focus on that will help you send love and healing energy to that part of your body. Because when you do, your body starts to heal it and fix it and clean it up and relax it and sends more blood there and does all sorts of really cool, miraculous things. When you can focus on where you hurt, your body will heal it. But if you can't focus directly on it, then you want to be above it in some way with some really great symbology for you. Okay, so find something, if something's uncomfortable today, I want you to try this tool and see if it works. It doesn't have to be the lotus flower, but it's a really good one because it's got a lot of great symbols and metaphors around it. So share this, like this, comment on this video. I would love it because it keeps me motivated in doing them and being a real anchor for all of us to come together and create this life that we're trying to create amidst all of the chaos and uncertainty and meanness and craziness that's going on. Okay? So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.